What's up, Buff Nation? Big news today. Breaking news. It's not really so much breaking as it is just delayed. We didn't put a video out this morning intentionally. We knew this news was coming out, and so we wanted to talk to you and react to it as it happened or shortly after it happened. Obviously, it takes a little bit of time to edit a video and then upload it to YouTube so that you guys can enjoy it. Hey, it's been a minute, but we're going to start the video asking for a favor from you. Hit that subscribe button. It is January, and we are already getting excited for the season upcoming. First one in the Big 12, which we have hyped a ton, I know. But make sure that you're part of the prime time for college football. A lot of good stuff out there. We appreciate a lot of you choose to consume our content and check it out. So the schedule is out. Let's throw it up on the screen so that you guys can see it. Let's talk about it a little bit. They should start out 1-0, but we'll see how it all shakes out once that goes down. And then you've got the inverse of last year. Last year, you got Nebraska at home and then Colorado State at home. This year, you go on the road. Now, we knew about those first three games, so nothing really shocking there. I won't spend an absolute ton of time on those three. We'll talk about them as the year goes on, but because we knew about them, we'll just keep it moving. Then, your first week 4 matchup in the Big 12, your first matchup outside of the Pac-12, we got Baylor at home. I think it's really good that you get to come home here. A rivalry game, a tough Big Ten game against Nebraska before, 3 really tough games to open up the year, and then you get the Baylor Bears. Baylor, not necessarily the team that they once were. I think this is a good time to get this game. You get it back at Folsom Field. You get it back in Boulder. I like the Buffs in this matchup. It's way early. Picking wins and losses here is kind of crazy by me, but here we go doing it again. Again, I'm the guy that picked Colorado every week last year too, so maybe take that with a grain of salt. But Baylor back home, I think that's a favorable matchup. I think that after 3 really tough games to open the year, especially 2 of them being away, getting Baylor back home is a big deal. And then the game that I'm most excited about for very selfish personal reasons of my own, Week 5, September 28th, Colorado comes to my backyard, UCF in Orlando, Florida. First of all, I love this matchup for selfish reasons, and I'll talk about those in a minute. But I'm telling you, I like this a lot for Colorado. UCF, not a powerhouse by any means, not a team that I think Colorado is really going to struggle with. I think this is one where UCF has certainly kind of been shell-shocked being welcomed to the Big 12, a team that had a lot of success back when they were in the group of 5, claimed a national championship back in 2017, upset some teams, won some New Year's Six games, but hasn't translated to the Power 5 just yet. And I think they're a couple of years away from being able to consistently compete. I think getting them on the road in this spot is really big. Colorado should win this game. Now, the bounce house is legit, and you don't just go in there and pick up easy wins, but this is a really good spot for this game to be in if you're Colorado, in my opinion. Selfish reasons, I'm going to this game. I live in Tampa, Florida. I've told you guys that, I believe. This is an hour and a half from me. I'm absolutely going to this game to see Colorado at UCF in person, to see Coach Prime and the gang in person. Listen, if you're looking at the schedule right now, if you're watching this along with me, let me know if you're going to a game this year. If you're going to UCF, hit me up. Let's get together. Let's tailgate or something. I am excited for that game. Week 6, you get a bye week, and then you get Kansas State at home. Kansas State, another team that hasn't necessarily been what they were a couple of years ago. Even just in 2022, they were in the Big 12 championship against TCU. They won that, but they're not quite the same team right now. You get this game after a bye week, and it's homecoming. I like where this is slated too. I think Kansas State is going to present a little bit more of a challenge than both Baylor and UCF, but I like that you have the bye week. You have the extra week to get healthy and prepare for it. I think that sets up well. Arizona, a team that you got against last year, is the next weekend. You're on the road at Arizona, but you played them extremely well. Obviously, they've got a new system, a new setup with their coach leaving, several players leaving. I think you're in a good spot against Arizona. That's going to be tough on the road. Old Pac-12 foe, old Pac-12 rival, but The fact that they're instituting a new system, new coach, some new players, I think that helps you a lot. Arizona was a good team last year when you faced them. They got better and better and better as the season went on, and Colorado really held their own against them. Lost by a score. That's fine, but I think that this is a big one, and if you can win this one, you're starting to really kind of look at the rest of the schedule saying, well, if you can beat Arizona, you can have a lot of success in this season. Week 7, October 19th, you're at Arizona. Next week, 8, Cincinnati, at home. This is a good one for the Buffs, without a doubt. Cincinnati, kind of like UCF. Obviously, Cincinnati made the playoff a couple of years ago. They got trounced there, but they're not that same team. I like the placement of this Cincinnati game. Again, I think this works out well. You're home, away, home, away. I like Cincinnati. I like us at home. Family weekend, I don't think that is one that's got me super worried. Again, I don't think Cincinnati has translated quite to the Power 5 yet, like UCF kind of. I like Colorado here. I think that's a good, favorable matchup to have at home at that time of year. It's starting to get a little chilly. Hopefully that'll be a night game. I like the Buffs in that one. This is a tough one. Not going to sugarcoat it. Not going to make anything about it. At Texas Tech, who likes to score a ton of points. This is going to be an offensive shootout. Again, this is probably the second closest game to me. I'm probably not going since I've already gone to the UCF one. But Texas Tech here in week 9, November 9th, a pretty tough one. What I like about this is what I like about one earlier. You get the extra bye week. Because of the way the calendar works out, everybody gets 2 bye weeks this year, or 3 if you play in the week 0 game, which Colorado doesn't, so it's not really relevant. But you get the extra bye week. This is one of your tougher games of the season, and I like that you have the extra bye week to get ready for it. Again, you've got 2 tough games in Kansas State, Texas Tech. You get bye weeks before both of those. That's a big deal. I like the way that sets up for Colorado. Utah the next week, November 16th. Utah at home. Listen, they lost a lot, but Cam Rising feels like coming back one more year, one more time. That's going to be a tough game. I like that you get it at home. You played them very well last year in the last game of the year. You didn't have a lot of your guys in that one. Hopefully you're a lot more healthy. I like that you get Utah at home, but that will certainly be a tough one. At Kansas, Kansas had a nice run in 2022. 23, they were a little down. I think this is a game you certainly can go out and win. I think this is one that you are going to probably need down the stretch, as it's one of the weaker of the opponents that you play. It's not necessarily a super challenging or difficult opponent compared to the Utahs, the Texas Techs, the Kansas States, or the next week, which we'll talk about here in just a moment. So it's a game that I think you need to pick up. It's a game you need to win. And I like where the Buffs are for this game. I think that's a good time of the year to get Kansas. Never going to be easy. Never going to be easy going on the road in conference, but that one doesn't worry me an absolute ton. And then Oklahoma State in week 12, November 29th. I'm thankful that one's at home. I'll tell you, Oklahoma State's a really good team. They were up and down some this year, but they did go to the Big 12 championship against Texas. They got their doors blown off. They lost to UCF last year, so they are certainly beatable. I like getting that at home, but I think this is a very manageable schedule. I think overall, the schedule worked out pretty nicely for you. I don't see a lot of traps. I don't see a lot of, oh man, you might overlook this team, you might overlook that team. I think this works out really well for you. And then the next week, if you can win enough of your Big 12 games, you can get into that Big 12 championship game. We got a long way to go between now and then, and we got a lot that we need to get done in spring, in fall, as the season goes on, before we can talk about that Big 12 championship. But it would be nice to get in there for Colorado and Coach Prime and the Buffs. I like the way this schedule sets up. I think it works out nicely for Colorado. I don't see a lot of traps. I don't see a lot of pitfalls. I think that the early part of the schedule is tough. I think going on the road to Nebraska, on the road to Colorado State is tough. Next couple of weeks, I like the way it sets up with Baylor at UCF. Again, going to be there. Can't wait for that one. And then the rest of the schedule sets up. I think you've got some tough games. You've got some games that you're going to be manageable in. But I like the way it sets up. We got a lot to figure out between now and when that opening kickoff goes off against North Dakota State. Make sure that you're plugged in and locked in with the channel. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. What games are you going to? Where are you going to go see Coach Prime and what weekend? I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching the Prime Time for college football.